Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. Today's video I'm going to do a story time. This is going to be a little bit different. I have never done a story time on my channel before, and I've actually gotten requests from you guys to do them. So I'm going to attempt one today and tell you a little story. It's a dating story of the time I got played. So I'm just going to sit here and chat with you guys and tell you guys all the little juicy details about that situation. So yeah, before we get started, I do want to thank BeenVerified for sponsoring today's video. If you have ever saw the MTV show Catfish, then you are probably familiar with what BeenVerified is. Basically, BeenVerified will allow you to obtain public records on a person, a car, a company. It's going to tell you everything that you need to know, so you can know within seconds if you can trust this person, if you have somebody that you're thinking about rooming with potentially, somebody that you meet online. So I know online dating is really popular these days. Then somebody that you are thinking about purchasing something from online, you can look at this person and know if you can trust them or not. The best thing about BeenVerified is that it has everything in one location, so you don't have to spend hours searching multiple databases. BeenVerified has it all in one spot, and it's going to generate results for you within seconds. So how it works is once you have your account activated, you can immediately start searching. You can type in the person's name, you can even put in the city and their age, so that it will narrow down results just in case you have more than one result for a person. That'll kind of help narrow it down, and then it'll immediately tell you any bankruptcies that they have, social media accounts, emails, phone numbers, people they're associated with, jobs that they've worked. Yeah, it's going to tell you everything. So I chose to go with the 3-month plan, and with that it comes out to $14.86 per month. So for me, that is definitely worth my peace of mind. And also, if anything ever changes on someone's record, you can have it set in the app to notify you. So anytime anything changes, you will get alerted. If you sign up using my link below, you're going to get 15% off, so definitely check that out. Once again, thank you to BeenVerified for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so today's story is going to be about a guy that I recently dated. I say dated, looking back, it was never, there was never any dating going on. I'm not going to call this guy by his real name just for privacy reasons. I'm going to call him Steven. So that's going to be his fake name throughout this video. So Steven was very charming in the beginning. He was a love bomber. So obviously I met this guy online, and he had been very persistent in trying to communicate with me, talk to me. He would always message me like late at night. Did this for about 4 weeks straight, and I would never respond. So about 4 weeks went by. He would message me at least twice a week, just be like, hey, or what are you doing? It would always be something like that whenever he would message me. It would never be like, hey, I am interested in you, blah blah blah. Like, it was never anything like that. It was always just like, hey, or what are you doing, WYD. Anyways, I would like never entertain him until when I did. So after about 4 weeks, he's still messaging me, so I finally messaged him back, and I was like, hey, I was like, you're pretty persistent. I figured I would message you back finally, just kind of laughing it off. And he sends me this really sweet message back, basically saying, when you see something worth having, it's worth the effort. So I thought that was really sweet. He immediately wanted to talk to me on the phone. He was like, can I get your number? I'd love to talk to you on the phone. And I didn't see a problem with that. That's fine. So I gave him my number, and we would talk every night. We talked every night for a good 2 weeks. He'd always call me around like 8 or 9 or so, which was perfect because that's when my kids went to bed. We would talk for like a good hour every night, and he was just very charming. He was a very funny guy. Like, he could keep you laughing to the point where your stomach was hurting. That's how much he would make you laugh. And so I really liked that about him. There was a few things that I did not like about him. Another thing that I liked was that he was a business owner, owned his own business. He was also a workaholic. He put in a lot of hours working, and so the job that he did is that he built machines from scratch. So companies would reach out to him, and they would be like, we need a machine for XYZ, can you make this happen? He would build it and then sell it to the company. So it was a really interesting job. He actually had took me out to his shop and showed me like all the stuff. Like, it was a really cool thing to see, and he would send me videos of completed machines that he had done. Yeah, it was just really interesting. And so him being an entrepreneur, me being an entrepreneur, that's just something that we related on, that we had in common. So there was a few things that I did not like about him. Number one, he was a workaholic, but he was also 36, had never been married, no kids, which is not always bad, but it does kind of plant a seed in your brain. At least for me, I always kept in the back of my mind thinking, he's single for a reason. I always gave him the benefit of the doubt, because he did tell me in the beginning, whenever we first started talking, he was like, look, he was like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, and he told me he had never been married, never had kids. Anyway, so that was just a few things that I didn't like about him, things that just kind of threw me off a little bit. And he was also upfront with me about some things about his past. He had a pretty bad rap sheet from his teenage years. The last thing that had happened was back in 2009, and yeah, he had got his life together. Like I said, he owned his own business, so he was upfront about all of that. Because I think if I would have found that out later, that might have been, I don't know, might would have scared me. So I was glad that he had told me that up front. So fast forward a couple weeks, like, we had talked every night on the phone, and he was really adamant about meeting me. But as you guys know, I'm a single mom to 3 kids. I can't exactly just haul off on a date or have a guy come over. I don't want to introduce a guy to my kids unless I know that they're gonna work out. I want to get to know them first, basically, before I let them around my kids. So I was like, look, we're gonna have to plan this out. My kids are with me until whatever day. I made plans to go on a date as soon as the boys were gonna go to their dad's, and my mom was gonna keep the baby for me. So the day comes for our date. We had a really good time. We spent the majority of the day laughing. Like, we just had really good conversation. I had expressed to him, I was like, look, you know, you're 36, so you don't have any kids. I have 3 small ones. Like, doesn't that scare you a little bit? He would tell me, like, I know your kids are important to you, and my concern is that I don't know if I'm good enough to be around you or your kids. So I don't know, like, he just kind of put my mind at ease about it. Really seemed like he was looking for the same thing that I was looking for. Like, he would tell me stories about the times that he got played, and that he was just done with those kind of females. I just really liked him, especially after that first date that we met and everything. And mind you, he had picked me up, and so on the way back, dropped me off. I had asked him if he wanted to come inside, meet my mom, because I do live with her. Long story short, he comes inside, and he is just really nervous. Like, he forgets to take his sunglasses off, everything. Like, so he was just really nervous, and he didn't stay long at all. Like, he was here maybe 5 minutes, and then he was gone. So anyways, like, after that day, we talked pretty steady. Every now and then a day or two would go by where I wouldn't hear from him, and I was never the kind of girl that I would text first. I did sometimes, but not very. I could probably count maybe twice or 3 times maybe that I had texted him first. But it got to the point where, like, our conversations that we would have every night on the phone would happen later and later. Like, it would be like midnight or after, whenever he would try to call me. And I kind of understood at that time, because he did own his own business, and he had deadlines he had to meet with building these machines. He just seemed like he was stressed out all the time. And so every time he would call me, he was like, sorry, I've had a really busy day today. We're trying to get this machine built. It's due next week. So I always bought that. I'd just be like, it's fine, you know, I understand. And we would talk on the phone, but like I said, it would always be like midnight or later. And then it got to the point where we never went on dates. He would always either come to my house, or I would go to his. I would mainly go to his more, just because I live with my mom, and sometimes that can be awkward. I don't know, it's just better, you know. You get my drift, you know what I'm saying. So like I said, we're not going on any dates anymore, and I'm either going to his house or he's coming to mine. So there was times where he would come over. He would call me at like 10:30 and be like, hey, I had a really busy day, I do want to see you. And so I would invite him over, and he would come, but it would be like super late. Like, dude, like, the first time he came, it was after midnight when he got here, and he just ended up sleeping for 2 hours. And then we were on the couch just hanging out, and he fell asleep. And so I was sitting there kind of awkwardly. Like, I did want to wake him up because I knew he was tired. Like, he had had a really busy day working, and so like I didn't want to wake him up and be like, hey, like, are we gonna hang out? What? Like, you're just gonna leave me here while you sleep? Like, I wasn't gonna be rude. And so finally I did wake him up. I was like, look, I'm gonna go to bed. I was like, I can grab you a pillow if you want. And he was like, no, I'm gonna go home. So he gets up, he goes home, and that's kind of what our dating turned into. It would either be him coming here, me going there. It would be like super late. Like, if I ever went to his house, it would at least be like 9-10 o'clock at night. And there was times where I would go. Now, mind you, his job is not that far from his house. It's like maybe a 2-minute drive, if that. So he would call me at like 9 o'clock and be like, hey, I'm getting off work. I'm going to get a shower real quick if you want to come over. And so, and I live a good 30 minutes from him. So it's not like I got there super fast. Like, it takes me a good 30 minutes to get, and I would never leave right away either. So he would call me and be like, hey, I'm getting off work. You want to come over? I'm leaving right now. I'm going to go get a shower and I'll see you there. So I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. So, like I said, I was giving this guy the benefit of the doubt because I knew, like, he did work a lot. And I really liked him. Like, I really wanted to spend time with him and get to know him, and I felt like that was the only way. Like, that was the only possible way, until I just got fed up with it, which we'll get there. Anyway, so I go to his house, and there would be times where I would have to wait on him an additional 30 minutes. I would be sitting in his yard in my car waiting on him to get home after I'd already waited here before I left. And it takes me 30 minutes to drive there. Keep in mind, he had already told me that he was getting off work then at the moment he called me. And so I kind of assumed that by the time I got there, he would be had a shower and ready to hang out, whatever. Well, no. Like, I get there and I'm waiting like 30 minutes in his driveway. So that was like, it really irritated me, but I was like, whatever. I just ignored it like a dummy. So that happened twice, where I was waiting on him in his driveway. He got to the point where he was sparse in his messages and phone calls to me. It went from us talking every day to talking every 2 or 3 days, and then once a week. So, and then it eventually got to the point where he would make plans with me and then stand me up. So the first time he stood me up, I had messaged him, and I was like, because it was like 30 minutes till the time we were supposed to go on our date, whatever, and it was like 30 minutes till, so I went ahead and I texted him. I was like, hey, what time are we getting together? And he straight up ignored my message. Like, he saw it, because Facebook Messenger shows you when somebody sees your message, and he just didn't respond. So that ticked me off like so bad that he didn't even have, like, I don't, even if you're busy, like, you can still send me a text and say I'm not gonna make it, whatever, something, like, but just don't ignore my message and then expect everything to be okay the next day, which is exactly what he did. So the next day, that was on a Friday, so the next day, a Saturday, my mom and I had gone to a birthday party. I had no intentions of ever reaching back out to him ever again. He was gonna come to me. Like, that's the mindset that I had. So we had gone to a birthday party, and then later that day we had gone to Florida, which is like a good hour from us. We wanted to go to Aldi. So we went, and it's about 6 o'clock. He starts blowing my phone up, and he starts by calling me, and I didn't answer. So he waits about 30 minutes, and then he calls again. Like, he starts to figure out that I'm actually ignoring him. So he keeps calling and calling and calling. Like, my phone is blowing up in Aldi. And so I was feeling good, because I was like, that's what you get. Like, yeah, taking my power back. So he was blowing my phone up, calling me, and then he kept texting me, like, really, like, why are you being like this? After about an hour from the last time he had tried to call me, I waited an hour, and I texted him back, and I was just like nonchalant, like, hey, you know what's up? I've seen where you called me. and he's like, He's like, what are you doing? He's like, I miss you. I was like, dude, I was like, you ignored me last night. You stood me up. And he tried to say that he didn't see my message. You saw my message because I can see that you saw it. And also, you knew we had a date. So even if you didn't see my message, you knew we had a date and you knew to say something. Like, you could have reached out to me and said, hey, I'm not gonna make it. Like, I really want to see you. I miss you. And I was like, well, I'm not going to your house. I was like, I'll be home in an hour if you want to come over. And long story short, he didn't come. Like, we argued on the phone for a little bit about who was going where. And I was just very adamant. I was not going to his house. So I did. And he didn't come here either. So the next day, Sunday, he calls. And it's pretty early in the day, which is different from what he normally had been doing. This was like, we never saw each other early in the day. So it's like I think he felt like he needed to get his stuff together, or I was out. And so that was what this day was all about, Sunday. So he calls me about mid-morning. He tells me that he wants to hang out. He invites me over, that he was gonna finish some stuff up at his shop, and then he was gonna head home, get a shower, and hang out. So I expected to go there and him not be there. But to my surprise, when I got there, he was showered. Like, I had his undivided attention. And so we spent the day just talking, like, about what we wanted in life. And he was also the kind of guy that he was kind of hard to get a word in edgewise, because he always talked about himself. That should have been like the first red flag that I noticed, but I didn't. Like I said, I gave this guy the benefit of the doubt so many times. So anyways, we just had a really good day. So then, like, we were back to talking every 2 or 3 days. He went back to the late night crap again. So fast forward a little bit, maybe a week. He had called me to come over. This night just really, really irritated me, and I'll tell you why. So remember in the beginning, he told me he didn't drink, he didn't smoke, he didn't do drugs, and that was nothing that I asked. I never asked him any of those things. That was things that he offered up. He went out of his way to tell me. So whenever I walked in his house that night, I see him, and I can tell he's drunk, and there's beer bottles everywhere. So here I am, confused, because I'm like, oh, you told me you didn't drink, here you are drunk. And I just really got the vibe that he didn't want me there. Like, he was kind of rushing me off. And so I don't know, he kept checking his phone a lot. Like, he just acted really nervous. So I don't know if he was juggling like me and somebody else at that time. I'm sure he was, but I don't know if maybe somebody was supposed to be coming over. Maybe they called last minute. I don't know. That's just my theory on what happened. But he was just kind of really just rushing me off. And I'm not the kind of girl, I'm going to hang around. If I feel like I'm not wanted, I'm going to go. So I went, and I didn't hear from him for a while. It was probably a good week. Like, looking back, I let this guy run over me so much because I was giving him the benefit of the doubt way too many times. And especially after I noticed the beer, like, that should have been it. But, and I didn't say anything to him about the beer. I should have, because number one, if he's an alcoholic, then that's not for me to change anyways. I'm not gonna change him. I didn't say anything to him, but it definitely went down in my little journal in my brain about all the things to be warned of about him. So after that night, I just really distanced myself from him, and he seemed to do the same. Like, I didn't hear from him for probably about a week. He called me this day. I was in the shower, and I didn't answer my phone right away. Number one, I was in the shower. Number two, I'm not the kind of girl that's going to answer your phone call right away. I just don't want a guy to ever think that I'm sitting around waiting on them. You know what I mean? So I have my own life, my own thing, and my world does not revolve around him. So that's kind of my way of thinking. So he calls me while I'm in the shower, and I didn't answer. So we actually had somewhere we had to be. So I went ahead and got my shower. I finished getting ready. And then I told myself after I finished getting ready and we get in the car, I'll call him back then. So that gave me probably a good hour of time in between. So I call him back, and he is aggravated with me that I did not answer his call. And I'm like, excuse me, like, I'm a grown woman and I don't have to answer to you about why I didn't answer your call. And I pretty much let him have it. And I told him how I felt. I told him the kind of guy that I thought he was, and that I just wasn't interested. And it seemed like it hurt his feelings a little bit, because he was just like, huh, he's like, I don't want you to feel that way, blah blah blah. He's like, I really like you. I was like, well, you really don't, like, it's impossible to get to know you. You're only reaching out to me late at night, and you just never make time to get to know me. And so that tells me all I need to know. I felt bad after that, because like I said, I could tell that it did hurt his feelings a little bit, or it seemed to. It was probably just a little pity party for me to feel sorry for him and change my mind about how I felt. So I text him when we got off the phone later. Like, I was thinking, oh my god, I hurt his feelings, like I shouldn't have said all that. I was like, he is a really busy guy, he just works a lot. I texted him, I was like, look, I'm sorry about what I said earlier. I just really find it hard to get to know you. And I told him pretty much what I was looking for. And yeah, I told him that he just didn't seem to be looking for the same thing. And so he texted me back. He was like, I get it, I haven't been fair to you about the time, and I really want to get to know you more. He says that, and then like it's a while again before I hear from him. And I just thought, after I said that, that would for sure like tell him like, hey, like, she's interested in you. And I kind of felt like maybe that was the vibe I was giving him, and maybe that's why he was being distant from me. Maybe that was the vibe I was giving off, and so I wanted to clear the air. And so that's what my intentions were with that text message. Like I said, after that, he still was distant, and he would only pop up here and there. And it just got really annoying quick. But it kind of told me everything that I needed to know. At the same time, he tried to call me about a week after that, and he was like, hey, you want to hang out? And I told him, I was like, I'm not a McDonald's drive-thru. You can take me off your rotation. I'm not a call girl. And he was like, he's like, I really like you, Kelly. Like, I wish you did not view me the way that you do. And at the same time, like, you're not really giving me an option to view you as anything else. You're not putting in any effort. And so I just really felt like he wasn't looking for anything else, and that's fine. Like, if that's not what you're looking for, then be upfront with that in the beginning, and don't try to pursue me or make me think you're trying to pursue me. Lead me on, if you will. If that's not what you want, it's perfectly okay to not want that, but just tell me that. Anyways, so like, he gets butthurt after I tell him all that I'm not a McDonald's drive-thru, I'm not a call girl. So he gets butthurt. He's like, well, let's see how it is. He gets off the phone. I guess he was expecting me to call him back or chase him, and I didn't, because it was like 30 minutes later he calls me again, and he was like, is it really gonna be like this? And I was like, yeah, like, I meant what I said. Like, I'm not gonna be that kind of girl for you, I'm sorry. And so I didn't hear from him again after that. I don't think. There might have been a time he texted me or something, I don't know, but all of this is kind of fuzzy. I know I didn't see him again after that. So fast forward, Facebook, I'm just scrolling one day, and I see that he's in a relationship with this girl. Like, she had posted a new relationship status that they were in a relationship together. And for him, I thought that was a pretty big deal, because he's not the kind of guy that flaunts any kind of girls. Like, he never posts on Facebook. And so I saw that, and I went to this girl's page, and of course just doing investigative work, because it had really not been that long ago that I saw him. And I saw where she had tagged him in some things where it was sometimes I went back to through my phone records on days that he had texted me, and I saw where he was hanging out with me on the same day that he was hanging out with her on a couple occasions. So that just, I did not like that. So, and this was like, he was not only dating her, but he was getting to know her kids, and that's just a whole other level. I immediately blocked him, and I just didn't want anything else to do with him ever. And my instinct was to reach out to her and tell her, but I knew that that's just not my place, and she'll find out eventually. That's not all that happened. There was more. So here recently, he tried to call me. It's been probably a week and a half ago, actually, which is what inspired me to tell this story. he doesn't stop there. He's got some audacity. So I got a new phone, so I had lost all of my contacts. I had to get a new Apple ID, all this and that, because I had forgot my ID password. So I lost all of my contacts whenever I got my new phone. So this number pops up. He's like, what's up? I didn't know it was him at the time. And so I text him back and I was like, who is this? And he's like your best friend. And so I was like legit thinking maybe my best friend, because I hadn't heard from him in a while. He was like the last person that I thought it was. He was like, your best friend. And so I was like legit thinking maybe my friend Callie, because I didn't have her number in my phone either, and we do text sometimes. And so I was thinking, okay, I was like, well, I'm sorry. I said, I don't know who you are. I said I lost all my contacts. And so that's when he calls me, and whenever I answer the phone, I was not expecting to hear his voice. My heart dropped, because if I had known it was him, I would not have answered that phone. So I answered, and he's like, hey, like, what's up? And I was like, who is this? Like, I just kind of played it off, like, who are you? He was like, you done forgot about me? And I was like, I guess so. He's like, it's Steven. We're calling him Steven. He's like, it's me, Steven. He was like, what am I, like, dead to you now? And I was like, yeah, basically. Like, I was like, I guess the relationship that you popped up in didn't work out. Anyway, my call ended up dropping. And he probably thinks I hung up on him after that, which is fine. He can think that. But my call actually dropped. I didn't call him back, and he didn't call me back. I didn't hear from him. So, and I forgot to tell you guys, my mom was actually friends with him on Facebook. So she still had him on her friends list. So I went to her and I told her, I was like, guess who just called my phone? She knew all about how he had been doing, and she was like, you need to drop this guy. Like, and I honestly should have done it a lot sooner. So as soon as I got the phone with him, like, I went and told her, I was like, guess who just called me? I told her. And so she goes to his Facebook page, and he had just been tagged in a post by his girlfriend over the weekend. This was like on a Monday. He had called me. They had been hanging out. He was hanging out with her kids, spending time with them, getting to know them. I just could not believe it. Like, you're really gonna... And he had said on the phone Monday when he called me that he wanted to see me. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, no. So he has ruined it. So that is why he is 36 and single, and eventually his girlfriend will find out, I feel like. So I'm just not gonna tell her. I'm gonna let that one unfold on its own. But he is still blocked, and I do not ever care to talk to him ever again. So yeah, that is a little story about how I got played. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too all over the place. I guess I'll find out whenever I go to edit this. And like I said, it's my first story time, and if you guys want more of these, I can definitely start fitting them in, because it was kind of fun to do, just to sit here and talk to you guys like friends. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to check out BeenVerified. That link down below will give you 15% off, and it's definitely worth the money. Like, you can find out pretty much anything you want to know about somebody. So definitely check that out. Thank you guys for watching today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you are new here. I post every single week here on my channel. Anyways, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.